Hi, everyone. Stacy's on camera now. Yay. So, welcome to Q1 2023 Career Lab. First, I want to congratulate you all because you either just finished your Collab Lab project or you're going to do it this afternoon. But you've worked really, really hard for 8 weeks. And I know that you have a really terrific project that you are proud of and that you can show off because it's different than what everybody else is making. So congratulations on that. And welcome to here. We're now going to do the 2 weeks of Career Lab. And it's a lot like Collab Lab, but instead of building a project and working on a team, you're going to work with each other and with mentors and volunteers to get that interview. We're going to get you noticed with the assignments and stuff that we're doing. We're going to get you the interview and you're going to kill the interview all in just 2 weeks. It's amazing. Before I go into too much detail, though, I have to introduce, I want to say the father of it all, but that just sounds weird. So Andrew, tell us what we need to hear.
Well, let's see. Yeah, it's it's an exciting time for you all. It's also nerve-wracking, I'm sure. Like you're all, the whole point of Collab Lab is to get you jobs, like get you established in tech, get that foothold in tech. We feel like the project that you do, the 8 weeks you spend, working together as a team and all that kind of stuff is really good preparation, and it gives you sort of raw material to talk about in interviews, right? But there's still a lot of specifics, kind of like mechanical stuff and whatever, to getting the interview and then doing well in the interview. And so that's what Collab Lab is designed to help with. It's optional. We've had people come from like TCL 3 and come back, years later and do Collab Lab because I would encourage you all, you're going to do it this time. That's great. If you, say a couple quarters from now or like a year from now or something, you want to just get some refresher, like kind of get a little practice interviewing or something, come back and do it again. It's really kind of like Shelly has it really down to, like a kind of a science of like just kind of making this thing happen for people. Really generous of all the mentors and volunteers to kind of give their time to do this. But yeah, the next two weeks, it's just a great time to kind of practice, figure out your language, how you talk about your story. Just get over maybe a little bit of the nerves, just kind of like getting some reps and doing technical interviews and that kind of thing. And just kind of get ready for it all. You probably, some of you have been job searching a little bit already, so you may have been through it. But it's always just helpful to the more you do it, the easier it gets. So throw yourselves into it, and it's going to be great. End of father talk.
So Stacy's walking. I don't know. Do you want to say anything, Stacy, or you want to wait till later, maybe? Oh, well,
I am not quite walking yet, waiting to leave. But Andrew totally nailed it. Career Lab has been said to have been one of the most valuable pieces of the Collab Lab experience. And I really do think it is because you get a chance to start understanding how you take the last 8 weeks of your experience and put it into words that make sense in an area and context. So as you're going through a Career Lab, I highly encourage you to start thinking about what you did over the last 8 weeks as your previous job, your previous experience. Because when you go into those interviews and they ask things like, tell me about a time when you didn't agree on a technical approach to a problem with a coworker. You just did that. You just worked through that. So this is your chance to take those stories and really solidify them so that you can articulate them well in interviews, nail it, and get the job. We're here for you. Make your mistakes now.
Exactly.
That's perfect. This is a safe space for you to try things out, make mistakes, get some feedback on how it works, polish it up. For me, actually, this is going to be a polishing too. I actually just got laid off on Thursday. Yes. So I was actually, at first I was like, oh no, I'm going to do a Career Lab. That's so wrong. And then I realized, no, it's perfect. This was a real turning point for me. I had interviewed for about 4 months before my Career Lab session, and it changed everything. It changed the way I approached an interview. It changed the way I behaved in an interview. And unfortunately for layoffs, it did get me the dream job once, and I'm confident that it's going to do it again. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the repo with you. Hopefully you've looked at it already. If not, that's fine because I didn't want you to do anything ahead of time. Here's the link. This is basically the calendar and where all the activities, who your partners are, all the sessions laid out in this one repo. So it's your resource for everything. I'm going to obviously be sharing my screen. So if there's questions, the mentors or Andrew, probably not Stacy, can answer those questions. And then we'll have plenty of time for Q&A afterwards. So don't worry. We're not, can everyone see my screen? I haven't used Zoom in a while.
Yes.
Looks good. Cool. Okay. So this is the repo and here's our calendar. So it's broken down roughly into 2 weeks. The first week is a little smaller than the second week. And you can go at any pace you want. This is not, you must have this done on this day. If you want to do it all today because you're motivated, go for it. And there's some wiggle room on a lot of stuff. But we do have a few async sessions. So just to quickly kind of talk about the code words that I use. A sync session like today means that it's a Zoom meeting. I'll be there and it's happening at a particular time. They will all be recorded. So you're not required. There's no attendance requirement or anything like that. So you can catch up later if you can't make it. But this is a great way to get your own questions answered. So it's a good thing to show up for. Then we have async sessions. And so I have 2 of them set for today. Those usually have a date range. And then this last one, Sync Star, kind of a hybrid. Basically, you will be meeting with somebody face-to-face, but you're going to schedule it sometime in this window. So it's up to you. It's not me. It's not Zoom. Well, it could be Zoom, but it'll be with your partner, whoever you've been partnered with. So to give you a little rundown on what's happening this week, there's a link here that says what we're doing right now. So not very interesting, but the link to this recording will be under this tab sometime this afternoon. So that's where you'll go if you miss a session. So our first async session is all about your LinkedIn profile. You probably have one already. Everybody knows it's huge in tech, but we have an amazing series of videos to really polish your profile, to get the hits, to show up on searches from recruiters, how to showcase not just what you've done in tech, but how to better or best showcase the stuff you've done through boot camp and even before, because a bunch of you, I'm sure, are from previous careers, and that's worth sharing. But there's strategic ways to share it, right? So you'll watch these sessions and work on your own profile. The next one, how to tell your story, is another async session. There's a recording and there's some questions for you to be thinking about. It's not a worksheet. You don't have homework, but it's something for you to be thinking about to process while you're watching the video and afterwards so that you can make the best of your persona, I guess, for want of a better word, how you appear in searches, how you appear online to get noticed before you even applied for something. We have a great session tomorrow, a Q&A with a recruiter. Doesn't say very much here yet. Again, this is the host for the recording later, but we have an actual recruiter who's going to be coming in and talking to you and taking your questions about anything, right? So you'll get honest feedback about what they're looking for, what to include in your resume, what, don't write a 10-page resume, really. That's not just a one-liner. Everyone will tell you, don't do it. So that's a great session if you have time, but it'll also be recorded. And then
Can I say also about that one?
Yes.
It's also a really good chance to understand the process. So, a lot of tech interviews, it's multiple rounds and there's, you might wonder kind of like, why do I have to meet with so many people? Those kinds of things. So if you're at all curious about that stuff, it's Yosha that's doing that session. Is that right,
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes, it is.
So Yosha's been she was a recruiter at Zapier. She's, she's really familiar with sort of how the tech industry works for this kind of stuff. So definitely, anything you're curious about, she'll be happy to answer.
Yeah, it's going to be a great session. And then our first Sync Star session. So the reason, actually, let me go back real quick to explain this a little bit further. So the way this says to do your async stuff by Wednesday, is because you're going to be paired with a mentor who's going to actually look at your LinkedIn profile and give you some feedback. So they'll look at it before they meet with you, and then you'll meet for a quick session with them. So you've been paired here. And as soon as you're done updating your LinkedIn profile, and when I say done, there's big air quotes around that. Your profile is a living document. You're going to tweak it and change it and get different advice that you like or things you want to take advantage of. But getting it to a place where you're comfortable having someone dig into it. You're going to meet then sometime after Wednesday, but make sure you give your mentors a couple days to look at it with that mentor, and they're just going to talk to you about it and tell you, you know, what's good, what to beef up, something you might phrase differently, things like that. And there's a whole rubric that you can look at too, even though this says mentors review this rubric along with the profile, you can look at it too and see what they're going to be looking for. Now, I recommend not waiting till Wednesday for the first time you contact your mentor, only because you want to get on their calendar, right? So even though we're saying give them the link to your LinkedIn no later than Wednesday, there's no reason why you can't, as soon as we get off of this call, send, let's say Raj is here, so hopefully I'm speaking for him. Amanda, if you want to send him a message, you know it's going to be the end of the week, you know your schedule, say, hey, I'm available these 3 days or this time, what works for you? So get on their calendar as soon as you can. So that's week 1, all about LinkedIn and getting seen to get the interview. We focus on week 2, which is a little longer than week 2 because it's meatier, on once you get the interview. What do you do next? So we do have a sync session on Saturday. This was it. Collab Lab and Career Lab were the most valuable things for me in interviewing and getting a job and then doing the job, honestly. But this one session was the pivot point for me. This is where I went from feeling traumatized by interviews, especially tech interviews, because they're very different than my previous industry, to feeling like this was something I could do and that I could interview them as well. So this is really a great session. So, and I'm saying that before I go into the next part, because this will be the first time that I'm participating in it. So Andrew is actually going to interview me in a mock job fit behavioral interview. And then EJ's or Raj, I'm not sure who's going to do which one. They haven't 100% decided yet. So you might show up on Saturday just for the surprise. They're going to interview each other over the tech assignment and ask and answer tech questions. This is a really great thing to see because you've experienced interviews before, but always from the nervous, under pressure, high risk side of things. And your memory may not be that good, right? It might have, you know, you might have forgotten all the good things that happened or just remember the scary things that happened. So it's really good to see someone else interview. So that's why we're going to do that. And then you're going to do the exact same thing. They're technically these async star sessions, but you are going to pair up with another collabie and go over questions. And you don't have to do that in an interview situation if you don't want to. When I paired with my collabie, we just read each other's questions. We read questions and I'm like, oh, I have an answer for that. And they're like, okay, go. And then I answered it and then she gave me feedback and we did it kind of casually. And that's a really good way to do it because you don't feel the pressure. You don't have to be perfect, but you can still get feedback on your answers. Then you're going to get to do the same thing, the job fits and the technical, in 2 different sessions with a mentor. So, and you guys can look at this yourself, but this is where you're paired up with a mentor. Again, get on their calendar now if you can. It's the second half of next week. And there's more materials for this as well, right? So these job fit interview questions are something that you're going to talk about with your collabie partner. But we also have a job description, some other questions, and preparing to ask questions of your interviewer. These are all sessions, videos, things you can read. So this is Andrew talking about what to ask your interviewer. So these sessions are all in here for you to get prepared for that. And then I'm jumping around a lot, but it is all pretty much chronological. Technical mock interview. You're actually going to work on, it started and you're going to finish it, but a very realistic challenge that you might get in an interview. There's two types of interviews, right? There's the algorithm type where they just give you random things and they want to see how good your JavaScript is or whatever language they're using. Or you build a little something and then talk about it. Those are my favorite types of technical interviews because I get to talk about my own work, and that's what you're going to do here. So there's a link to this repo as well. So you're going to actually clone this and build a little assignment. You're only going to work on it for a few hours. We don't want you to spend weeks, days, tons of time making the biggest, most spectacular app. You're not recreating your shopping list app. This is more about writing some code and then demoing it. And that's what you've been doing for 8 weeks, right? You've been writing some code, demoing your work, talking about your process. And that's exactly what you'll do in your mock interview with your assigned mentor. So again, reach out to them. That's your responsibility, though they might reach out to you. So keep an eye on your Slack inbox. Let's see. Ask your mentors, rock the technical. That's another video that's really awesome. So that's going to get you the interview and the practice interview stuff down. And then we have one bonus session that doesn't fit in a category, but is a really awesome session. Doesn't say anything at all. So Luke is a certified financial assistant, financial planner.
Financial planner, yeah.
Financial planner, yep. And so he is amazing. He works with tech folks, some of the tech folks that you know, and he's going to talk to you about how things are potentially about to change, right? You're going to make more money, hopefully, but also there's just different things like stock options and things that you maybe have not dealt with in a previous industry and how to deal with that. So that's a really great session, also recorded in case you can't. And then our final sync session is graduation, which again is another optional session. And it's just a really great chance for us to celebrate you and all of your achievements and for you to give us some feedback. And then finally, if that's not enough to keep you busy and you need more, we have a ton of resources linked here with just, they're all broken down in different categories of what you need, right? Maybe you don't want to watch another video, but you want to read something, or, study tips because you want to learn how to learn something new better. Whatever it is, we've got a ton of stuff that's been collected here for your use. So that is the repo. I'm going to stop sharing and come back and let's see. Oh, there aren't 8,000 questions. Okay, cool. Sometimes there's a lot of questions because I go too fast. I've spent a lot of time in this repo. I'm very familiar with it. And I sometimes forget that other people might not have looked at it yet. Anyway, yes, thanks, Caitlin, for those resources. She has been gathering all this stuff for you, and it's fantastic. So even if you can't come to all the sessions, even if you can't finish stuff, all of these things are here for you in the future too, right? So 3 weeks from now, 3 months from now, you've forgotten everything we've done, come back here. The videos will be linked here, and all the resources will still be there for you. Okay, so now questions. What do you need to know?
And all of this is supposed to take around 5 hours a week, but it's like, it'll really be dependent on how much time you want to put into each of the pieces of it. So, if you're kind of in a mode where it's like, it's time to job search, and that's all I'm doing, like, you can spend way more time on this stuff and like, do a lot more practicing, or like spend a lot more time on your LinkedIn or whatever. But, hopefully at least the synchronous sessions and the videos and stuff should be sort of still within that sort of 5 hour expectation that we like to hold to. What are y'all thinking? Is it seem like a lot? Does it seem useful? Like, what's the vibe? Is this stuff that you've done before? I'm gonna call on somebody. Yeah.
Everyone's saying useful. Okay, good. I was hoping like either I did a really good job or really bad job. Yeah, Nina, the can't wait to dig in. There's a lot to dig through. So if you have time, just start at the top and click all the links and see what's in there. Highly recommend it. Cool. Well, if you don't have questions, I'm trying to think, is there anything that I missed advice, definitely front load the beginning of your week. That's going to always be the advice. Thanks, Stacy. Because that way you've got wiggle room. The first couple days of the week is for you to work on stuff independently so that you can meet up with your mentor, your partner towards the end of the week. Communicate, definitely reach out. They're all ready for you. They're all excited.
Yeah, definitely. You might, even the meetings that are going to happen next week, you might just reach out now to your mentors and get those scheduled, because everyone's busy. If you find it hard to find a time that works for you, give yourself a little more time to get through that task. So
I completely second that. Get things scheduled as soon as possible. And one other thing that I want to point out is I think a lot of times, because LinkedIn specifically can be something that just takes forever and could be never ending, people will feel inclined to just not ever submit it because they're like, well, it's not ready. It's not in a good place yet. But I totally encourage you to submit it no matter what state it's in by the end of the week, because that mentor can take a look at it and help you understand where you should focus. So get it in.
You can set expectations too, like say, hey, I got through the first 3 sections, I didn't get to the rest of it, and so that they know where to kind of focus their attention as well. That's totally valid.
And that's actually a really important thing. The mentors have all signed up to help you out on this one chunk, whether they're your technical chunk or your LinkedIn chunk. This is not about an assignment. This is not about judging where you're at. This is, ooh, let me help, right? So when we ask for volunteers, they're all like, oh yeah, I'd love to do this one and this one and this one. So everybody's just there to help you one-on-one. It's just a really great resource where you have somebody's ear that's just, going to answer your questions, whatever they are. So it's perfect. And yes, definitely everyone's on Slack. That's why I put first and last names. Normally we just do a first name thing, but then I realized, how are you going to find John on Slack if you don't know John's last name? There is no John, but so that's why you've got everybody's last name. They're all on Slack. They all know you're coming. So no one should be surprised. And also if someone doesn't reach out to you, they're human too. If they might have some life thing where they're offline for a few days. If you need something, I'm here. So you can, or Andrew or Stacy, you can always bug us. I'm the first person to bug though. And if I don't know the answer, I will get it for sure. Cool. There is only one John, of course. When I said the name, I was like, you know what? I bet there is only one John, and I don't know him. So
he's a great guy. He actually he was involved in Career Lab early on because it's John Highland. He runs the Ignite program at New Relic, which is all designed to bring early career people into that company. So great resource if you can. He hasn't been around our Slack for a while, but lovely person. So.
EJ, are you making fun of me because I'm assuming that it's bugging as opposed to, please talk to me, I'm lonely? What?
No, I just love that you're like, I'm the first line of defense. Don't bother Stacey. I just think you bothered me. That was very funny.
I so didn't mean it that way. I so didn't mean it that way. But most of the administrative stuff, yeah, that's me. So if something's not working, come to me for it. Before we go
Stacey
that
and I
way.
so appreciate, Shelly, you taking this on and just you just run it. We don't even have to think about it. We just show up at a couple meetings and it all just happens.
So. You're like shielding everyone. You're like, I got it.
That's great. Yeah.
I also push everyone away. I'm like, no, it's mine. Andrew is incredibly generous and is always like, do you want me to do this? I'm like, no, stop. Just let me. I loved Collab Lab. Obviously, I'm still here, but Career Lab really did just create a shift. And I wanted to give back. And when Stacy said that there was some, again, administrative stuff necessary and somebody needs to take on Zoom. And I'm like, me, I can do it. And then suddenly turn around and I took on everything because I love it. So it's my baby. I'm here. If you need me, reach out for sure. Don't hesitate. Also, I mean, we could give you back some time too. You don't have to feel obligated to hang out with us. But again, definitely need anything, let me know. Get started digging through stuff. And the calendar is just a guideline, not rules. If you want to start doing technical right now, because that's where you're at, go for it. Just realize that your mentors have sort of scheduled, you know, this week for LinkedIn, next week for interview stuff. So that one-on-one stuff is maybe not as flexible, but what you're working on is. Can't wait to book. Thanks, Devin. This is great. I'm gonna, yeah, or no, thanks, EJ. You're the one that really started this, didn't you? Didn't you? I'm gonna regret that. And it's on camera and recorded, and I'm gonna put it on the internet. Cool. Okay, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Raj, go to sleep. It's really late where you are. And
Yeah.
everybody take care.
All right.
Bye,
Thank
all.
you.
Thank
See
you
ya.
very much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.